Commander Lee Hyun's boots echoed against the metal floor as he paced in front of the enormous holographic display. The blue light from the projection cast harsh shadows across his scarred face, making him look older than his 57 years. This was the third time he'd watched the alien message, and each viewing made his blood run colder. The hologram flickered, showing the imposing figure of High Chancellor Vextar of the Galactic Federation. The creature's 4 arms gestured dramatically, while its multiple eyes glowed with contempt. Species designation Human 7749, your primitive civilization has been evaluated by the Galactic Council. You consume excessive resources while contributing nothing of value to galactic society. Hyun clenched his fists as the alien continued its speech. Behind Vextar, other council members from across the galaxy nodded in agreement. The snake-like Cytherian ambassador hissed approval, while the crystalline Zerothian delegate pulsed with bright colors of satisfaction. These beings had judged humanity without ever truly understanding what humans were capable of. Your world designation, Terra 3, will be cleansed in 30 galactic cycles. We suggest you use this time to evacuate your population to designated refugee colonies, where you will serve more useful purposes. The hologram paused, and Vextar's mandibles clicked together in what passed for a smile among his species. This is not negotiable. The Federation has spoken. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Around the room, dozens of human officers stared at their screens, their faces reflecting a mixture of anger and determination. They had all known this day would come eventually. Captain Park Soo-jin broke the silence first. Her fingers moved rapidly across her tactical console, bringing up sensor readings from the far reaches of the solar system. Sir, they've positioned observation satellites around our outer planets. They're watching us closely. She looked up from her screen, her young face set with grim resolve. They really do think we're just scared primitives. Good, Hyun replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Fear makes prey animals predictable, but we stopped being prey a long time ago. He walked to his command chair and pressed a hidden panel. A secure communication array activated, its signal penetrating deep into space, using frequencies the aliens couldn't detect. The technology was human-designed, based on quantum entanglement principles that the Federation had dismissed as impossible for a primitive species to understand. This is Commander Hyun to all Silent Thunder installations, he spoke into the encrypted channel. The moment we've prepared for has arrived. Begin final deployment protocols immediately. I repeat, this is not a drill. Far beyond Neptune's orbit, in the cold darkness where no alien sensor had ever looked carefully, 3 massive objects that had drifted silently for decades suddenly sparked to life. To any casual observer, they appeared to be nothing more than captured asteroids, dark chunks of rock and ice that had been pulled into the outer solar system's gravitational well. But appearances could be deadly. The largest of these asteroids measured nearly 8,000 kilometers in diameter. Its surface was perfectly crafted to look like natural stone, complete with impact craters and mineral deposits that would fool even close examination. Beneath this disguise, however, lay the most powerful weapon humanity had ever constructed. Deep inside the artificial caverns of this hidden fortress, Dr. Kim Min-ho stood on an observation platform overlooking a construction bay that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. The sight before him would have driven the alien council to panic if they could have seen it. Massive robotic arms, each the size of skyscrapers, made final adjustments to weapon systems that dwarfed anything in the known galaxy. Status report, Min-ho called out to his engineering team scattered throughout the vast complex. Fusion reactors are operating at full capacity, reported Chief Engineer Yoon Dal-soo from the power station. We're generating enough energy to power half of Earth. Primary weapon array is fully charged, added weapons specialist Choi Hana. All 75,000 cannon batteries are online and ready for deployment. Min-ho nodded with satisfaction. Project Silent Thunder had been humanity's greatest secret for over 200 years. While the galaxy saw Earth as a backward world struggling with basic space travel, human engineers had been quietly revolutionizing technology in ways that made Federation science look primitive. The asteroids weren't just weapons platforms. They were fully functional worlds, complete with cities, factories, and populations in the millions. Each one was capable of sustained interstellar travel and could operate independently for centuries. They were humanity's insurance policy against extinction. "Dr. Kim," came Hyun's voice through the communication system. "What's our readiness status?" Minho looked out at the bustling activity around him. Technicians in advanced suits moved like ants across the weapon arrays, making final calibrations. Transport vehicles carried supplies and personnel through corridors wide enough to fly aircraft through. Everything humanity had learned about engineering, physics, and warfare had been poured into these hidden fortresses. "Earth's vengeance is fully operational, Commander," Minho replied with quiet pride. "All primary and secondary systems are online. Our population of 12 million is at battle stations. We can begin operations at your command." Similar reports came in from the other installations. Terra's shield reported ready with 15 million personnel. Humanity's Fist confirmed. Operational status with 8 million crew members. Each hidden world represented the pinnacle of human achievement, disguised as floating space debris. The trap was perfect. For generations, humanity had played the role of weak primitives while secretly building the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They had studied alien technology, improved upon it, and created weapons that could reshape the balance of power among the stars. Now the Federation was about to learn that underestimating humanity was the last mistake they would ever make. Admiral. Go Hyunji stood perfectly still on the bridge of what the entire galaxy believed was nothing more than a lifeless chunk of rock drifting through space. Her dark eyes tracked the massive alien fleet approaching through the asteroid belt, their sleek warships gleaming like deadly jewels against the black void. 50,000 vessels strong, the Federation armada moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. The bridge around her buzzed with quiet activity. Unlike the chaotic, noisy command centers often seen in alien ships, the human vessel operated with surgical precision. Every officer knew their role, every system hummed. With perfect efficiency. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Admiral, they're maintaining standard attack formation," reported Lieutenant Commander Han Gi-soo from the tactical station. His voice carried just a hint of amusement. "They're not even bothering with advanced maneuvers. They think this will be easy." Navigation Officer Yun Tai-ho leaned forward in his chair, studying the approaching fleet through the main viewer. The alien ships were undeniably magnificent. The Krillian dreadnoughts looked like floating cities with their tower-covered hulls, while the Vorthak battlecruisers moved through space like massive metallic sea creatures. The smaller Zephyr fighters swarmed around the capital ships like angry insects. "You have to admit they're beautiful," Tai-ho whispered to his console operator. "Those Krillian ships especially. Look at how their hull plating catches the starlight. Shame we have to destroy them. Beauty won't save them from what's coming," replied sensor specialist Kim Yoo-jin quietly. She had been monitoring alien communications for the past hour, listening to their commanders discuss how they would divide up Earth's resources after the humans were eliminated. The casual cruelty in their voices had made her sick to her stomach. "Admiral." Hyunji moved to the center of the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. At 43, she was young for such a command, but she had earned her position through decades of secret preparation. Like every human officer in the Hidden Fleet, she had studied alien tactics, technology, and psychology until she knew their enemies better than they knew themselves. "Distance to the lead elements?" she asked calmly. 2 million kilometers, and closing, Han reported. "Their flagship is trying to establish communication. Right on schedule." Yunji had read the psychological profiles. The Federation always demanded surrender before opening fire. It was part of their superiority complex. They needed their victims to acknowledge their power before the killing began. The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the Krillian flagship. The alien commander was an impressive sight, over 3 meters tall, with 4 powerful arms and skin that shifted between silver and gold. His name was Warmaster Thekvar, and according to human intelligence, he had personally overseen the destruction of 17 different civilizations. "Primitive humans," Thekvar began, his voice carrying the arrogance of absolute certainty. "I am War Master Thekvar of the Galactic Federation. Your pathetic species ends today. You will surrender now, or we will— No, Yunji interrupted, her voice cutting across all communication frequencies with crystal clarity. The single word hung in space like a challenge thrown at the feet of gods. Thekvar's 4 eyes widened in surprise. In his centuries of conquest, no primitive species had ever dared interrupt him. What did you say? Yunji stepped closer to the screen, her expression as cold as the void around them. I said no, War Master. You will not destroy us, you will not enslave us, instead you will surrender to us. The alien commander's mandibles clicked together in what passed for laughter among his species. Surrender? To you? I have 50,000 ships under my command. You have nothing but empty space and worthless rocks. Do we? Yunji asked with a slight smile. She turned to her weapons officer, a young woman whose steady hands had been trained on the most advanced gunnery systems in human space. Lieutenant Choi, I think it's time to show our guests what those worthless rocks really are. Lieutenant Choi Mi-young's fingers moved across her control panel with practiced grace. Yes, Admiral. Beginning revelation sequence now. The transformation began slowly, almost gently. The outer surface of their vessel, which the aliens still believed was just a captured asteroid, began to shift and crack. What looked like natural stone formations started splitting apart along hidden seamlines that had been perfectly concealed for decades. Massive sections of artificial rock peeled away like the shell of some enormous creature molting in space. Beneath the disguise, gleaming metal surfaces emerged, polished to mirror brightness and covered with markings that no alien civilization had ever seen before. The fake asteroid expanded as hidden sections deployed, revealing its true size to be far larger than any ship in the Federation fleet. Weapon emplacements the size of city blocks rose from concealed bays, their barrels longer than most alien cruisers. Shield generators that had been disguised as crater formations powered up, creating energy barriers that made the Federation's best technology look like children's toys. Hangar bays opened to reveal fighter squadrons that had been waiting in darkness for this moment. But the most shocking revelation was the sheer scale of it all. What the aliens had dismissed as a 3-kilometer asteroid was actually a 15,000-kilometer battle station. It was larger than most planets, armed with enough firepower to crack moons and filled with 12 million human warriors who had spent their entire lives preparing for this day. This is Admiral Go Yunji of the United Human Defense Force, she announced, her voice now carrying across every communication channel in the solar system. You are trespassing in our territory. The silence from the alien fleet was deafening. 50,000 ships hung motionless in space as their crews tried to process what they were seeing. On the Krillian flagship, War Master Thekvar stared at the massive human battle station with all 4 eyes wide in disbelief, but Yunji wasn't finished with her revelations. Computer, signal all units, begin full deployment. Throughout the solar system, 7 more asteroids began their own transformations. Behind Jupiter's largest moon, what appeared to be a collection of space debris suddenly revealed itself as Terra's shield, bristling with defensive systems that could protect entire worlds. Near Saturn's rings, humanity's fist shed its rocky, camouflage to show weapon arrays that glowed with barely contained energy. Each hidden fortress was unique in design but unified in purpose. Solar Wind carried the most advanced fighter squadrons humanity had ever built. Star's Edge specialized in long-range bombardment with cannons that could hit targets in other star systems. Freedom's Price was a mobile fortress designed to operate independently for decades, carrying entire cities within its armored hull. The aliens found themselves surrounded by 8 planet-sized human warships, each one capable of single-handedly destroying their entire invasion fleet. The hunters had become the hunted, and they were beginning to realize just how completely they had been outmatched. War Master Thekvar finally found his voice again. This is impossible. Our intelligence reports showed humans barely capable of reaching their own moon. Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see, Yunji replied smoothly. Congratulations, War Master. You've just become the first alien commander to witness the true power of humanity. I hope you enjoy the experience because it will be brief. The moment Admiral Go Yunji gave the order to fire, the solar system transformed into a theater of war. unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The first shot came from Earth's vengeance, and it was a declaration that humanity would no longer hide in the shadows. The massive plasma cannon that emerged from the planet ship's surface was a marvel of human engineering. Its barrel stretched for 300 kilometers, longer than most alien space stations. The weapon had been designed not just to destroy enemy ships, but to send a message that would echo across the entire galaxy. When it fired, the energy release was equivalent to a small star going supernova. The beam of superheated plasma tore through space at nearly the speed of light, its brilliant white-blue glow turning the darkness between worlds into blazing day. The first line of Krillian dreadnoughts didn't even have time to raise their shields before the energy wave hit them. Ships that had survived countless battles across the galaxy simply vanished, converted to atomic particles in milliseconds. War Master. Thakvar watched in horror from his flagship's bridge as 12 of his most powerful vessels ceased to exist. The plasma beam continued its deadly path, carving through 3 more battle groups before finally dissipating into the void. In a single shot, humanity had destroyed more Federation ships than most rebellions managed in years of fighting. Impossible, the alien commander whispered, his forearms trembling as he gripped his command chair. No weapon should have that much power, but the humans were just getting started. Captain Ryu Dongmin stood on the bridge of Terra's shield, watching his tactical displays as target locks appeared around the Zephyr battlecruiser formation. These sleek predatory ships were considered among the most dangerous in the galaxy, feared for their speed and devastating torpedo attacks. Today, they would learn what fear truly meant. All batteries, target the Zephyr formation, Dongmin ordered, calmly. His ship carried over 50,000 individual weapon systems, from massive particle beam cannons to rapid-fire pulse guns that could tear through armor like paper. Main guns fire at will. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Terra's shield erupted in light as thousands of weapons opened fire simultaneously. The ship's surface, which moments before had looked like barren rock, now blazed with energy discharges that painted space in brilliant colors. Particle beams, plasma bolts, and quantum torpedoes streaked toward the alien formation, like an angry swarm of deadly insects. The Zephyr ships tried to scatter, their pilots finally understanding the magnitude of the threat they faced. But human, targeting computers, enhanced with artificial intelligence that had been secretly developed for centuries, tracked every movement with perfect precision. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The aliens' energy shields, which had protected them through countless battles, proved useless against the human onslaught. What should have taken hours of concentrated fire to breach collapsed in seconds under the sheer volume of incoming energy. The proud Zephyr battlecruisers, each one a technological masterpiece worth more than most planets, were reduced to expanding clouds of debris in less than 30 seconds. Communications officer Shin Haewon's station lit up like a festival display. As panicked transmissions flooded all frequencies. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender offers on every channel. The Vorthak Collective is asking for immediate ceasefire terms. 3 Cytherian battle groups are already powering down their weapons." But the carnage was far from over. Across the solar system, the other human planet ships had chosen their targets and were systematically dismantling the Federation fleet. Solar Wind specialized in fighter combat, and its hangars disgorged swarms of human interceptors that moved through space like silver lightning. Each fighter was piloted by humans who had trained their entire lives for this moment, using technology that made alien craft look like antiques. Star's Edge, positioned near Saturn's rings, focused on long-range bombardment. Its massive railguns launched projectiles the size of buildings at a significant fraction of light speed. When these projectiles hit their targets, the kinetic energy release was like nuclear explosions, tearing alien capital ships apart from the inside out. The aliens had come to the solar system expecting easy prey. Instead, they found themselves facing weapons technology that was centuries ahead of anything in their arsenals. Human ships moved faster, hit harder, and shrugged off damage that would cripple Federation vessels. Admiral Yoon-ji watched the battle unfold from her command center, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. These alien crews were someone's families, someone's children, But they had come to commit genocide, and humanity had no choice but to defend itself with overwhelming force damage report, she requested calmly. 0 casualties on our side, reported Damage Control Officer Park Minsick. The aliens haven't managed to penetrate any of our shields. A few long-range shots hit our outer armor, but they barely scratched the paint. The scale of the victory was almost embarrassing. 50,000 alien ships, representing the combined military might of dozens of civilizations, had been reduced to less than 5,000 survivors in under 10 minutes. Those few remaining vessels were fleeing in all directions, their crews broadcasting desperate surrender messages. "Admiral," called Engineer Bai Jong-soo from his monitoring station, his voice carrying new urgency, "I'm detecting massive hyperspace distortions at the edge of the system. Looks like reinforcements are arriving." The sensor displays showed dozens of new signatures materializing from hyperspace jumps. This wasn't just another battle group. This was the Federation's main battle fleet, the force they kept in reserve for only the most serious threats. Over 200,000 ships began forming up at the system's edge, their commanders having monitored the destruction of the advance. Fleet Admiral Korthnex, the Federation's supreme military commander, appeared on the communication screens. His crystalline body pulsed with angry red light as he surveyed the wreckage of his advance fleet. "Humans, you have made a grave error. What you faced before was merely a scouting force. Now you will face the true might of the Galactic Federation." Yunji looked at the massive alien armada gathering in the distance and smiled. The aliens still didn't understand what they were really facing. Humanity had revealed 8 planet ships, but intelligence reports suggested there were many more hidden throughout the system, waiting for exactly this moment. "Signal all reserve units," she ordered quietly. "It's time to show them our full strength." In the depths of space, dozens more asteroids and dead moons began to shed their camouflage, revealing themselves as the most powerful weapons of war ever constructed by any civilization in the galaxy. The news of humanity's victory traveled across the galaxy like wildfire, carried by terrified survivors and automated distress beacons. On the crystalline homeworld of Zeroth Prime, the planet's ruling council watched holographic recordings of the battle in stunned silence. Ships they had considered invincible were being vaporized by weapons that shouldn't have existed. "How is this possible?" whispered Council Leader Zeftal, her crystalline body flickering with confused patterns of light. "Our intelligence networks showed humans barely capable of reaching their own satellites. Similar scenes played out on thousands of worlds. The Altarian Republic's emergency parliament convened within hours of receiving the battle footage. These proud warriors who had never retreated from any fight watched human planet ships tear through Federation fleets like paper and immediately began drafting surrender terms. On the trading hub of Nexus Station, the largest commercial center in the galaxy, panic spread through the markets faster than the news itself. Alien investors who had planned to profit from humanity's destruction suddenly found their portfolios worthless. Weapons manufacturers who had supplied the Federation fleet watched their stock prices collapse as buyers realized their technology was centuries behind human capabilities. Admiral Kang Woo-seok stood on the bridge of humanity's wrath, one of the newer planet ships that had remained hidden during the first battle. Through the massive viewport that stretched across the entire forward section, he could see the Federation's main battle fleet maintaining position at what they hoped was a safe distance of 10 million kilometers. "Status report from across the galaxy," requested Woo-seok, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. At 62, he was one of the older commanders in the human fleet, having spent 4 decades preparing for this day. Communications Officer Back. Jamin's fingers flew across his console as reports flooded in from human intelligence networks that had been quietly monitoring alien communications for centuries. "Sir, it's unprecedented. The Altarian Republic transmitted surrender terms 20 minutes ago. The Vegan Confederacy has ordered all their fleets to withdraw from human space immediately." "The Draconian Empire?" asked Colonel Nam Yuri, Woo-seok's second-in-command. She was younger than most senior officers, but had earned her position through brilliant tactical analysis of alien military doctrine. "They've gone completely silent. Our agents report their entire government is in emergency session, Same story with the Andromedan Collective and the Spiral Arm Alliance. Wusiok nodded grimly. For over 300 years, these civilizations had dismissed humanity as primitive insects barely worth noticing. Now they were learning that the insects had been building the most advanced military force in galactic history. What about the Federation core worlds? Yuri pressed. Bak's expression grew more serious as he read the latest intelligence reports. Complete chaos, Colonel. Their stock markets crashed within the first hour after the battle footage was confirmed. The Krillian home fleet has been recalled to protect their capital world. 3 member species have already announced their seceding from the Federation. Through the tactical displays, they could monitor the massive alien armada that hung in space like a swarm of angry insects. Fleet Admiral Korthnex had assembled over 200,000 ships, representing the combined military might of dozens of civilizations. It was the largest battle fleet ever assembled in galactic history, and yet its commanders were afraid to move closer to the human positions. "They're scared," observed Tactical Officer Yu Sang-ho from his station. "Look at their formation. They're staying bunched together for mutual protection, instead of spreading out for attack runs." "Fear makes them predictable," Wusiok replied, "but it also makes them dangerous. Cornered animals often do stupid things." The bridge's atmosphere was tense but controlled. Unlike the chaos reports coming from alien command centers, the human officers worked with calm efficiency. They had trained for this scenario countless times, running simulations based on detailed intelligence about alien psychology and tactics. Sensor operator Lee So-young suddenly straightened at her station, her eyes wide with excitement. "Admiral, I'm picking up a priority transmission from Earth Command. They're requesting permission to implement Phase 2 of the Revelation Protocol." Wusiok felt a cold smile cross his lips. The aliens thought they had seen humanity's full strength, but the 8 planet ships revealed so far were just the beginning. Hidden throughout the solar system and beyond, dozens more massive vessels waited for their moment to emerge from camouflage. "Tell Earth Command they have full authorization to proceed with Phase 2, he ordered. "It's time to show these invaders exactly what they're really facing." The response was immediate. Across human space, objects that had been dismissed as dead asteroids, captured comets or natural satellites, began to shed their disguises. Near Jupiter's Trojan points, what appeared to be 3 large asteroids suddenly blazed with activity, as their rocky shells split apart to reveal gleaming war machines beneath. On the moon of Europa, a section of the ice sheet cracked open like an egg, revealing a massive hangar bay that had been hidden beneath the surface for over a century. From its depths emerged squadrons of human starfighters, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Even Earth's own moon began to show its true nature. Sections of the lunar surface peeled away to reveal weapon installations that had been constructed in secret, disguised as mining operations and research stations. The moon itself was revealed to be humanity's first and most heavily defended fortress. The alien fleet's sensors went wild as dozens of new contacts appeared throughout the system. What they had thought was empty space suddenly teemed with hidden human vessels, each one larger and more powerful than anything in their combined armadas. "My God," whispered Navigation Officer Choi Min-jun as he watched the displays. "There are over 40 of them, 40 planet ships. But the revelations weren't limited to the solar system. Human intelligence networks activated sleeper agents across the galaxy, and reports began flooding in of similar unveilings throughout human space. The colony world of New Sol revealed itself to be completely hollowed out and converted into a mobile fortress. The research station orbiting Proxima Centauri shed its peaceful appearance to show massive shipyards that had been secretly constructing vessels for decades. On the Federation flagship, Fleet Admiral Korthnex stared at his sensor readings in growing horror. His crystalline body had lost all color, becoming transparent with shock. "This is impossible. How could they have hidden so much from us?" His intelligence chief, an insectoid creature named Kluktar, chittered nervously as he reviewed the data. "Admiral, our analysts estimate the humans have been preparing for this confrontation for at least 2 centuries. Every mining operation, every research station, every seemingly peaceful colony was actually part of their military buildup." The truth hit the alien commanders like a physical blow. While they had been dismissing humanity as primitive, the humans had been studying them, learning their weaknesses, and building weapons specifically designed to counter alien technology. Every diplomatic contact, every trade negotiation, every cultural exchange had been an intelligence-gathering operation. "Sir," called the Federation's communications officer, "we're receiving signals from across the galaxy. Our member worlds are demanding to know why our intelligence was so catastrophically wrong. The Cytherian High Command is asking if we're planning to retreat." Korthnex looked at the massive human fleet surrounding his forces and realized he was facing a choice between total war and complete surrender. Either option would likely mean the end of the Galactic Federation as they knew it. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had been preparing for this moment since their first contact with alien civilizations, and they had been preparing very, very well. When Fleet Admiral Korthnex gave the order to attack, he believed he was leading the greatest military force in galactic history to an easy victory. 200,000 ships from across the Federation moved forward in perfect formation, their commanders confident that sheer numbers would overwhelm the humans despite their advanced technology. They were catastrophically wrong. The battle began at 1432 Galactic Standard Time, when the first Federation ships entered weapons range. It ended at 1449, and those 17 minutes would be remembered as the moment the galaxy's balance of power shifted forever. Fleet Admiral Han Ji-won watched from the bridge of Seoul's Justice as the alien armada approached. At 51 years old, she was the youngest person ever to command humanity's combined fleet, but her steady hands and brilliant tactical mind had earned her the respect of every officer under her command. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced her operations officer, Commander Lee Dong-wook. Around them, the massive bridge hummed with quiet efficiency as 43 planet ships coordinated their attack patterns. "Signal all vessels," Ji-won ordered calmly. "Execute Operation Thunderstorm." What happened next defied everything the galaxy thought it knew about space combat. The human planet ships didn't simply fire their weapons, they unleashed a coordinated assault that turned the very fabric of space into a weapon. Gravitational manipulators pulled entire alien formations out of position, while quantum disruptors tore holes in reality itself. Seoul's Justice fired first, its primary weapon system creating a wave of destruction that rippled through space like a stone thrown into still water. The energy pulse moved faster than light itself, hitting the Federation's front lines before their sensors could even detect the attack. Entire battle groups simply vanished, their matter converted to pure energy in microseconds. Captain Ryu Dong-min, now commanding the upgraded Terra's shield, targeted the Krillian heavy cruiser formations with surgical precision. His ship's new reality-warping cannons didn't just destroy enemy vessels, they erased them from existence, leaving behind empty space where proud warships had been moments before. The alien commanders tried desperately to adapt their tactics, but human technology had evolved beyond their understanding. When Federation ships attempted to ram the planet ships in suicide attacks, they found themselves bouncing harmlessly off energy shields that could deflect entire moons. When they tried to retreat, human tractor beams locked onto them with gravitational forces that made escape impossible. "Admiral, the Vorthak Collective's battle fleet is requesting immediate surrender," reported Communications Officer Park Ji-hyo. Her console was lighting up with desperate transmissions from across the alien armada. "Tell them surrender will be accepted after the shooting stops," Ji-won replied, without taking her eyes off the tactical display. She watched as humanity's hidden weapons revealed themselves one by one. Solar Wind deployed fighter swarms that moved like liquid mercury through space, each pilot enhanced with neural interfaces that made them faster than any organic being could naturally be. The alien fighters that tried to engage these squadrons found themselves facing opponents who could think and react at the speed of their ship's computers. Human pilots didn't just fly their craft, they became one with them. Their consciousness merged with artificial intelligences that had been designed specifically for combat. Star's Edge, positioned at the battle's outer edge, demonstrated humanity's mastery of physics by firing projectiles that arrived at their targets before they had apparently been launched. The ship's temporal manipulation systems bent time itself, allowing its weapons to strike alien vessels in the past while firing in the present. The Federation's proud capital ships, some over 20 kilometers long and bristling with enough firepower to crack planets, found themselves helpless against human technology that operated on principles their scientists couldn't even comprehend. Shield systems that had protected alien civilizations for millennia collapsed under weapons that attacked matter at the quantum level. Fleet Admiral Korthnex watched in horror from his flagship as his mighty armada was systematically dismantled. All ships full reverse. Emergency jump to hyperspace. But it was too late. Human interdiction fields had sealed off every escape route. The aliens who had come to commit genocide found themselves trapped in a killing field with nowhere to run. The final moments of the battle were almost merciful. Rather than prolonging the slaughter, G1 ordered her fleet to end it quickly. 43 planet ships fired simultaneously, their combined energy output exceeding the power of most stars. The remaining Federation fleet simply ceased to exist, converted to expanding clouds of glowing particles that would drift through space for millennia. When the shooting stopped, the silence was deafening. 200,000 alien ships had been reduced to cosmic dust in less than 20 minutes. Not a single human vessel had suffered so much as a scratch on their armor. From the command deck of Seoul's Justice, Fleet Admiral Han Ji-won prepared to address the galaxy. Her image would be broadcast to every inhabited world, transmitted through quantum communication networks that reached across millions of light years in real time. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice carrying the authority of absolute. "Her victory. For centuries you saw us as weak, primitive, worthy only of conquest or extinction. You were wrong. We are humanity, and we have been preparing." Behind her, the main view screen showed the 43 planet ships in all their terrible majesty. Each vessel was a world unto itself, carrying millions of humans and enough firepower to reshape entire star systems. They hung in space like artificial suns, their surfaces gleaming with technologies that most civilizations couldn't even imagine. Today, your leaders came to our home intending to commit genocide. They believed that might made right, that the strong could do whatever they pleased. To the weak, we have shown them the error of their thinking. On 1,000 worlds, alien populations watched in stunned silence as their most powerful military forces were revealed to be utterly inadequate against human technology. The species they had dismissed as barely evolved primates had built weapons that made their own arsenals look like stone tools. "We offer peace to those who seek it, protection to those who need it, and swift justice to those who threaten the innocent." The age of galactic bullying is over. Humanity now watches over this galaxy. Captain Oh Se-jun, monitoring the long-range sensor arrays, quietly approached the Admiral with a data tablet. "Ma'am, we're detecting hyperspace signatures at the galaxy's edge. Looks like the reserve construction fleets are returning from Andromeda." Ji-won nodded slightly, her expression revealing nothing. The galaxy didn't need to know that their revealed fleet represented less than half of humanity's true strength. While they had been building their 43 planet ships in secret, other human fleets had been exploring neighboring galaxies, establishing colonies and building even more powerful vessels in the darkness between stars. Across the galaxy, alien governments began the humbling process of surrendering to humanity's new order. The Altarian Republic formally disbanded its military and requested human protection. The Vegan Confederacy offered tribute in exchange for peaceful coexistence. Even the proud Draconian Empire, which had never bowed to any foreign power, sent ambassadors to negotiate terms of surrender. The planet ships took their positions throughout human space, no longer needing to hide behind false appearances. Earth's vengeance established orbit around the former Federation capital world, its presence a constant reminder of humanity's power. Terra's shield positioned itself at a major trade junction, offering protection to merchant vessels that had once lived in fear of pirates and raiders. For the first time in galactic history, the void between stars was truly safe. Human patrol. Fleets, their ships invisible to most sensors, watched over trade routes and protected weaker civilizations from those who would exploit them. The galaxy's bullies found themselves facing opponents they couldn't intimidate, couldn't bribe, and couldn't defeat. No longer would Earth stand alone against the darkness. No longer would humanity hide its strength behind masks of weakness. The galaxy had learned to fear the species it had once dismissed, and in that fear, a new age of peace was born. The galaxy had a new guardian, and it wore the face of the species they had tried to destroy. The end.